This is Sunday League Football, a board game for 2 to 4 players that simulates the world's greatest game. In this game, you'll take on the role of a manager and utilize the resources provided to you by your players in an attempt to outsmart your rival through the use of tactics and strategy. This game is coming to Gamefound later this year, so let's take a look at what Sunday League Football brings to the table. Full disclosure, everything you see here is a prototype and does not necessarily reflect the final product. In Sunday League Football, you're going to take control of a local soccer team that is asymmetrical from the other local soccer teams that the other players will be controlling in the game. Each team, however, consists of 13 players, a decent mixture of offense, defense, and midfielders, and one goalkeeper. But every single person has their own statistics that they're going to bring to the game. You're also going to start off with a manager who brings their own defensive strategies, their ability to play tactics cards, and again, offensive and defensive statistics. Throughout the week, you will spend time possibly sacking your manager and hiring a new one, possibly losing players and picking players up from either the free agent market, which we can see here, there's a whole bunch of them, or possibly picking up players from the other team. Then there's also a period of time where you're simply going after the free agents that we just saw. Then there's a training phase where you can spend the resources from your manager in order to gain tactics cards. These tactics cards are what are going to help you change the tide during the game. So they allow you to adjust your resources that you have put into your plan of attack. And then finally, you're going to end each week with a match day. So this is where we bring out our field board here. Our field board is broken into essentially two halves with a possession area in the middle. And then we've got some offensive setups here, some finishing moves, and some shot boxes, as well as a counterattack, finishing moves, and shot boxes over here. The way you determine who is winning and who is successful in scoring in Sunday League Football is to place the resources you gain from your player cards, and you're going to bid secretly behind a screen. Say, for example, this is one of the screens here. You would set it up like this. You're going to first bid for possession, and then you're going to set out the rest of the resources that you have from the players who are available for you for that portion of the game. Whether you're on offense or defense, you'll be placing red or blue cubes on this side for the main part of the 30 minutes, and any counterattacks, though, you have to take into consideration, and so you may have resources like this. Once everybody has established their game plan, they're going to reveal, and starting with the attacking player, they're going to begin comparing setups on the field here. So if one was tied, then nothing happens. But if someone happens to have an advantage, passing then would link into finishing. Finishing could then link into a shot on goal, so on and so forth. So where you place your resources and how much do you overload a certain area, or do you set up with dribbling, which can suck in the defense, or do you put everything on crossing, which can go straight to headers? That is the strategy of the game. On top of that, your individual players have some special abilities here that allow you to move around your resources, as well as the tactics cards that we talked about. So this is the crux of the game, is you determining what your strategy plan is based on the resources that your players give you, and then utilizing that strategy in a combination with your players and your tactics cards that your manager is able to play. Can you put out a better strategy than your opponent? The focus of this game is on the actual game. There are other football games out there that focus on the management of the team and the vendors and the sponsors and everything else. And yes, there are sponsors in this game. You know, you're going to have sponsors that give you various amounts of earnings, which we can see here, depending on whether you win, lose, or draw in a match. And there are additional sponsors that you can claim throughout the week or bid for throughout the week. There's also referees. Referees are going to be brought into the game, and they're going to be a common card between both sides. And if a penalty or a possible penalty occurs, you're going to be rolling these two dice, comparing it to these cards. So you can see here, Robert B. Lint, a lot of stuff he just lets play on. Very little of his calls turn into penalties. Only a 12, which is double sixes, is a red card. Whereas Karen Sargent here is the exact opposite. He's got very little he's going to let play on, and he's got a lot of stuff that is going to get you the card. So this is another thing that you need to consider. And then last but not least, once you get into shooting, a random adjustment card is also going to be thrown in. So you never know whether or not, you're never out of it. And some of these are, say for example, your goalkeeper could get some adrenaline there. So that is Sunday League Football. This right here, the positioning of your resources, the chance for you to think, all right, where is my opponent going to place their defensive resources? Are they going to set themselves up to counterattack? Essentially, if a defensive player overloads and stops a setup, then they have the chance to counterattack, leading to a shot. So it is possible to score if you lose possession, but if you gain possession, you're going to be on the attack for that third of the game. Each game is played over 3 parts, where you're looking at a third of the players on your team. Your goalkeeper and your manager will always be out. I think this game has a lot of potential. I think that the more variety we can get in players and their special abilities, as well as tactics cards and managers, the more variety you have in this game, the better off you are at establishing a strategy that then you can utilize and change on the fly when things don't quite go your way. And I think being able to change things on the fly is what makes this game different than other soccer games on the market. Soccer and any sports game is really hard to implement. There's so much action, and you really can't relate that action into a static board game. So what they're doing here with Sunday League Football is replicating the strategy, the X's and O's, the coach or manager in this case, writing on that whiteboard during a timeout. This is where I want you to go. This is where we want to overload. We're going to cross in from here, and we're going to go for a header. So that is why, you know, managers and the top elite football players across the world get paid the big bucks. And so this game is trying to determine whether you should be one of those managers or players earning the big bucks. I think this game has a lot of potential. If you are a soccer or football fan, this is definitely one you want to check out. Also, if you were looking for a game that has a bit of establishing your plan versus another player's plan, and then you reveal and see how you both can implement your plan, that's a unique style of game, and you can play this game 2 to 4 players, but each individual match is played head to head against someone, so it would make a great 2-player game. Also, there are very few sports games on the market, so if you are looking for a sports game, if you're a sports fanatic and want something to step away from the TV and get that itch, this is another game that you should be checking out. So last year, Portal Games released 11, which was a football manager board game. And it was a very Euro-heavy board game where you were taking part in managing the team, everything from sponsors to players to staff. And a small portion of that game was the actual match, but it was very dry. It was not the focus of the game, and it left people wanting more. Well, Sunday League Football takes some of that concept,
but focuses mostly on the game and the actual strategies of the game that make football the most exciting. There's a reason why managers in the game of football get paid so much money, because strategy is important. Where are you going to attack from? What's your lineup going to be? So on and so forth. Sunday League Football asks you, as the manager of this team, to decide which strategy is best and pits you up against another player to see once and for all whose strategy truly is the best. Now, this Sunday League Football is Sunday League Games' first attempt at a board game. I think they have a lot of growth to do here, but I think there's also a lot of potential in this game as well. So what I am asking you to do is, if nothing else, go check out the Gamefound page. I'm going to put a link to the preview page in the description of this video, and then once that campaign goes live, I will make sure, if I need to update any links or anything like that. But at least check out the page, see what it's like, and form your own opinions. I think the more people that back this game, the more the Sunday League Games will have the ability to upgrade the game, improve components, add more variety, add more referees, add more players, possibly even a solo mode. We never know. But I am asking you to give this company a chance by at least going and checking out their page that you can find in the description below. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below as well. I'll do my best to get back to you, but the best way to get your questions answered about Sunday League Football would be to reach out to the designers themselves through Gamefound, and you can do that on their webpage or on the Gamefound webpage. So once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.